Hello, everyone. Have you ever had that feeling where you study for hours, but then when the test comes, you just can't remember the key ideas? Well, today, we're going to look at a really powerful way to learn called the Feynman Technique. And the main idea is actually pretty simple. The best way to truly learn something is to try and explain it.
So let's start with this quote. Now, this isn't meant to make you feel bad or anything. It's really a tool, and it's here to protect you from probably the most common study trap out there. And that's the trap of thinking you understand something just because it looks familiar when you read it. You see, the mistake that almost all of us make is mixing up recognition with recall. Recognition, well, that's just that feeling you get when you reread your notes and think, oh yeah, I've seen this before. But real learning, the kind you actually need for a test, that's recall. That's being able to pull the information out of your brain without looking. And the Feynman technique, it's all about building that specific muscle.
Okay, so how does explaining something out loud actually build knowledge in your brain? Let's get into the why behind it.
All right, so what exactly is the Feynman technique? At its core, it's a way to study where you teach a concept out loud using really simple terms. The whole point is to test your own understanding and, most importantly, to expose what you still need to learn. Go ahead and open your workbook to lesson 6.2. For the first question, try writing that definition down in your own words. You can pause here if you need a minute.
Now, this method is all about helping you find gaps. A gap is really just that moment. You know the one, when you're trying to explain something and you just stumble. Your explanation breaks down.
Here's the thing about a gap. It's not a sign that you failed. It's actually a sign that you're learning for real. It's like a big, bright spotlight showing you exactly what you need to work on. So a gap might look like you freezing up, or maybe you start using vague words like stuff or basically. It could be skipping a step or not being able to explain why something works. It could even be not being able to think of an example. On your workbook page, go ahead and write down your answer for what a gap looks like.
So why is this so much better than just rereading your notes over and over? Well, when you explain something out loud, you're forcing your brain to do three pretty hard jobs all at once. First, you have to retrieve the information without looking at anything. Second, you have to organize it so it makes sense. And third, you have to translate it into simple language. That is a way more active process than just letting your eyes scan a page. And that brings us to a really important point. Explaining something simply isn't dumbing it down. Not at all. It's actually the ultimate test of whether you really understand it. See, if you can't explain it in simple terms, it usually means you're just hiding behind big words you memorized. A simple explanation is proof that you truly own the idea. Okay, so what do you do when you actually find a gap? The system here is awesome because it's so simple. It's a little loop. First, you find the gap. Then, you go back to your notes or your textbook to repair it. And finally, you try to explain it all over again, but in simple terms. That's the core loop, and you'll see a spot for it in your workbook. Find a gap, go back to repair it, and then re-explain.
You know, when you start using this technique, something really cool happens over time. It builds this really stable, solid confidence. You stop feeling like, I hope I know this, and you start feeling like, I know I can explain this. Your confidence isn't just a guess anymore. It's based on actual proof. Okay, so theory is one thing, but let's actually try this out. In the next part, we're going to do a little guided practice so you can see how it feels. Go ahead and find the guided practice section in your workbook. Step 1 is to choose a topic. I want you to pick one real thing you're learning right now in one of your classes. It could be a concept from biology, a historical event, a math formula, anything. Write that topic down in your workbook. Go ahead and pause here to do that. Okay, step 2. This is the big one. I want you to actually teach your topic out loud for about 30 to 60 seconds. Seriously, it doesn't matter who you're talking to. The audience could be your dog, the wall, whatever. The whole point is to make your brain do the work of explaining. When you're done, just make a note in your workbook that you did it. Go ahead and pause now and give it a real try. All right, how did that feel? For step 3, let's reflect a little. Be honest with yourself. What part of that explanation felt really easy? And where did you find a gap? Where did you get stuck or hesitate? Try to pinpoint that exact moment. Go ahead and pause to write that down in your workbook. Great. Now for step 4, repair the gap. Now that you know exactly where you got stuck, go back to your source material. That could be your notes, the textbook, maybe an example from class. Your job is to fill in that one specific piece you are missing. In your workbook, just write down how you fixed it. You can pause now to do that. And finally,
Let's reflect on this whole thing. Look at the last question in this section. How did teaching it out loud change how you feel about the topic? Maybe your confidence went up, or maybe things just feel a little clearer. And remember, even if all you did was find a gap, that is a huge win, because now you know exactly what to study next.
Okay, let's do a quick recap of the main ideas to make sure they stick with you.
So here are the big takeaways for Lesson 6.2. First, the Feynman Technique is all about learning by teaching something simply. Second, a gap isn't a bad thing, it's a signal that shows you exactly what to go back and repair. Remember that explaining forces your brain to retrieve and organize information, and that a simple explanation is the absolute best test of your understanding. And finally, don't forget the core loop. Find a gap, repair it, and then re-explain.
Okay, that's it for the main lesson. Your next step is to finish up the Lesson 6.2 page in your workbook if you haven't already.
Coming up next in Lesson 6.3, we're going to dive into another really cool memory tool called the method of loci.
Thanks for joining me today.